Hi there, I'm Jonathan, the creator of Legend 64, an N64 style adventure game that draws inspiration from some of my all-time favourite games. I've been working on this project for over 3 years now, but that doesn't mean the game has had 3 years of continuous development. What that really means is that I've been pouring all my available free time into making the game, spread out over the course of 3 years. Progress on the game is often slow, but I'm happy to be back with another update for you. Remember this disclaimer I gave you about that little slap attack? In this devlog, we're going to be changing it. You're going to be fighting ghosts after all, so of course you won't be slapping them to defeat them. Well, it's with great pleasure that I can finally unveil the real weapon you will use throughout the game. A lantern. But this isn't just any lantern. This lantern contains spirits. Across numerous cultures around the world, lanterns have long been associated with spirits and the afterlife. In many traditions, people believe that lighting a lantern can guide the spirits of the deceased to their final resting place. So it's a lantern. That's cool and everything, but how's this really going to be a weapon? You may have noticed this little flame floating around the character's head. This is Ember, your companion throughout the game. Ember is a spirit contained within your lantern, and will be your guide as you traverse through the realm of ghosts. You'll need to work together if you are to make it through to the other side. Ember may look a little familiar to you, and that's very much intentional. One of the best aspects about Ocarina of Time, in my opinion, is the fact that you have a fairy as a companion throughout the entire game. I just find something comforting about having another character on screen with you as you play. It visually reinforces the idea that I'm not alone on the quest, and whenever I'd feel overwhelmed venturing into these colossal dungeons, or daunted by a difficult boss, I would take comfort in the fact that my fairy companion was facing these challenges with me. This is one of those things that just makes The Legend of Zelda so special to me. However, as much as I love Navi, something's always bothered me about it.
Hey, listen!
No, not that. It actually comes right at the end of the game. Surprise! Ganondorf's back! Oh snap, Navi's gonna fight with us? This is gonna be epic! I remember being so let down by this moment as a kid. Why big up the fact that Link and Navi are going to be fighting together, only to then do nothing different? And so I got thinking, how could I make Ember feel less like a tag-along and more integral to your adventure? I had the idea to give the player direct control over both the main character and Ember, using the left and right stick for each character. While I think it's an interesting concept, it just doesn't feel that fun to control two characters at once like this, and it just feels too complicated. So I decided on a different approach. I had the idea to do something akin to Banjo-Kazooie, where the two main characters feel inseparable from each other, almost to the point where having them part ways feels so much less fun. And this takes me back to the whole ghosts and lantern thing. Well, Ember's a ghost, so why not have him be the way you attack other ghosts? Ember is bound to the lamp, and therefore his movement is limited within a certain radius from it. Whenever you swing the lantern, Ember will ignite and perform a swipe attack. Currently, you can perform a flurry of horizontal and vertical attacks, and on the third successive hit, the character will perform a slightly slower finisher to break up the repetition of the animation. I'm planning to add more attack options with Ember further down the road, but this is where I'm at for now. Ember's attack uses a sprite sheet made up of 20 frames of animation. I'd like to thank artist Tom Giles for letting me use this epic flame animation as the base for the attack. I love the stylized feeling it gives to the game. To create a sense of power and impact as you swing Ember around, I've layered the flame animation with particle effects like sparks, smoke, and heat haze. I derived these based off the starter content flame animation in Unreal Engine. Ember's flame attack is actually a 3D mesh that's animated using shape keys in Blender. The mesh will rotate towards the camera depending on which angle the player is facing. I did this to try and prevent the attack from looking too flat and papery in places. The little orb effect in the middle of the flame has been animated separately and layered on top of the animation to make it look more three-dimensional. The orb follows this parent bone in world space to create more of a dynamic movement as opposed to just a flat sprite. The character will also be affected by the light of the flame for a few moments whenever you attack. This was set up by using vertex painting on the character's model and using it as a mask to control which parts of the character get illuminated by the flame. I can adjust the value in my material properties to determine the strength of the illumination. The attack animations for the main character were created in Blender and were especially tricky for me. You'll notice bits of the clothing clipping through the character's mesh. I haven't bothered correcting these with shape keys yet, as I'm continually making changes to the animations as I go. Having good character animations not only enhances the overall gaming experience, but also plays a critical role in conveying vital gameplay information, such as the range, power, and effectiveness of each attack. There are so many variables you have to factor in order to make sure that the character looks good from as many different angles as possible. Even a slight change can end up making a big difference to how the game feels. If you've been following my videos, you've probably noticed by now that character animation isn't my strongest suit. But fear not, because I found the perfect solution. I'd like to introduce you to the sponsor for this month's devlog, 2Animate, a cutting-edge animation course designed specifically for Blender users. Created by industry professionals, this course covers all the fundamentals of 3D animation, including detailed video lessons, PDF guides, feature quality rigs and assets, dialogue clips, and access to the Blender Basics course. As some of you may remember, I initially began this project with 3ds Max before switching to Maya and then finally to Blender. Along the way, I encountered various challenges in adapting to the new software and learning its quirks. Had I known about 2Animate's Blender Basics course, my transition during this time would have been so much smoother. This comprehensive course covers an array of topics in depth, ensuring you can quickly master Blender's capabilities. If any of this piques your interest, check out the links in the description below and use the code LEGEND64 to get a $30 discount when you sign up. Keeping on with the animations, I've dipped my toe into the world of Unreal Engine physics to help animate the swing of the lantern. Whenever the lantern gets hit, it will swing in response. I feel this will add a level of dynamic movement to the weapon whenever you swing it, but as you can see, it's a bit unpredictable. If the lantern collides with something slightly too hard, it will spin wildly out of control. There are limits you can add to the physics constraint, but I haven't hit upon the right settings and I'm not pleased with it yet. To demonstrate its range of motion, I've attached the lantern to an object that's going to be moving back and forth. It looks okay for the most part, but sometimes it will swing a bit too far around the entire handle. I may be getting into more trouble than it's worth using a physics system, but I really do like the dynamic range of movement it gives the lantern. And I think it will add a lot to the overall experience of the game. I like just running back and forth and watching it swing all over the place. It's pretty satisfying. Did you know I have a Patreon page where I post weekly updates and behind the scenes content for the game? If you'd like to help make my dream game a reality and have your name featured in the credits, please head on over to patreon.com/legend64project. Thank you to everyone who supports me, and an extra special thank you to these 64-bit legends: LRC Napkin, Mario Tavalieri, Tyler Hughes, Oliver Honlican, Yaya Damboos, Mason Stooksberry, Waro Duck, Melty Metroid, Paul Mayer Gorham, Daniel H. Hernandez, Power Hungry Fool, Flash the Reploid, Nick Grossi, Nicola Wallen, Bleak Bob, Twyla27, Robert M. Stwali IV, Baby Funky Kong, Unseeing Eyes, Void Kitten, Shinku Aura, Liam Kennedy, Zachary Mabius, Santino, Eric, Kanzen Sun, Takamori, Angius, Bo Eckel, Great Mate, Truman Thompson, Gustav64, A Grumpy Fox, Joe Acklin, Yawning Bear, Ezra Brunziel, Alex McVicker, Zombotic, Finn Forel, Gnuff, and Cassidy. I'd also like to thank my 16-bit patrons for their continued support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next devlog.